Hello my beautiful hammerhead and welcome back to another video. In this video I will tell you all about the events of Dawnbringer Book 5 Shadow of the Crone. So I have all my notes again here, so let's do this. There are a lot. So we are back in our Twin-Tail Crusade. We left the Axian site in the new city of Emberguard, where there is something sinister in the Emberstone mines, and the Gyronite side is still running away from the court of Ushoran. But we should not forget that things are heating up in Hammerhal Aksha. I'm also going to go through the story as it is written here in the book, as it jumps from event to event, like always in Aksha, because that's the way the story goes. So we have the Cainite Shrine of Nagarai that stands empty and silent as all the gladiatresses are at war against the Cornets and the city walls, and the citizens are barring their homes. Only a robed figure walked towards the shrine. As the figure approached the dais, the reigning Hag Queen, whose loyalty to Hagnar was unwavering, approached it. The Queen recognized the robed figure as a Crone herald, the individuals who questioned the divinity of Morathi Kane. As the Crone herald spoke, her voice crackling with age, she said that Morathi was a shadow of greater gods. Not standing there to let her goddess to be insulted, the Hag Queen ordered the execution. Casting aside her robe, Crethusa revealed herself in full winged glory. Behind her, Doomfire warlocks crashed into the Morathi followers and put the shrine to the torch. As they captured the Hag Queen, Crethusa told her that Morathi will not find her until the time comes to talk. While killing her, she showed the Hag Queen a vision. The vision is Chains of Shadow, maybe Slanesh, a monstrous king with a cloak of masks, which is Ushoran, skull towers, which is Korgus Kul, a phoenix consumed by a black sun, which might be the Phoenicium, the shrine somewhere in Gyran, I believe, or in Akshi, and a world burning in green fire, which we already know is either the Pyregeists of the Nighthaunts or the Skaven now erupting from Akshi and all the other realms. Now that the Shrine of Nagarai was Crethusa's, her real work would begin. In another part, Callus and Toll are still active with their work. We know that they are fighting the Kingsblood Curse, now, as we already knew in book 1 to 4 and in their new novel right now. But now our two ladies, the thief Lysa Revenia and Mistress Verentia, the Weaver of Whispers, joined them in their work. In their investigation, they found hints that led them towards the sewers as the Flesh-Eater courts were preparing to contaminate the water supplies. They needed more help as there are multiple pumping stations under the enormous city of Hammerhal. So as the Great Conclave waved them away, our band went to the person to handle Hammerhal's security, which is Lord Castellan Valius, the Keeper Axian. So we learn that the water is being pumped from Hammerhal Gyra and is being infused with traces of Aqua Gyranis, which is good, as of now. Sadly, even Valius could not summon the support our witch hunter needed, as basically everyone who could bear arms was defending the city against the Cornets, the Flesh-Eaters, and the Red People. They were only the Undercrofters. The Undercrofters are Wildercorp hunters known for subterranean warfare and being hot-headed troublemakers, so you know they are the real deal. It even says in the book they are really good at their job, so please be connected to them. As they were in jail for insubordination, they had time on their hands. With just a few drops of King's Blood wine, which they gave to their dogs to take a whiff, and to track it to the source, some of the dogs went mad and attacked each other, because Ushoran's blood is just so potent, apparently, and the rest of the trailhounds led them towards the sewers, which begs the question of were the dogs with them in jail. But okay, back to the city of Amberguard, as our Axian Crusade settlement settles on the ominous mountain Eschenmont. No one was happy with the location, as their original goal lay farther to the east, but as Lokawai cursed their water supplies, the Aqualith in Book 4, Pontifex Zenestra insisted on a new course, because how convenient that there are already symbols of the wheel everywhere. So in the and there are mines lined with sarcophagi, not scary at all, and on the Great Basilica is also the Great Wheel. Also, we know that the mines were lined with veins of the Axian Realmstone Acthrisite. Sorry. The Duardin of the Dispossessed clans ventured into the mines with the mages of the Collegiate Arcane to survey the deposits of Realmstone, and everyone was glad to be away from the wheel nuts, so the religious fanatics. Deep down in the mines, there is a mausoleum chamber, the size of a Sigmarite cathedral. Again, symbols of the wheel were everywhere, it was freezing, and in the center was a pit of oily darkness, which was a realm gate connected to Shaiish, the realm of death. The temperature plummeted even further and frost settled upon our crusaders as green flames burst from the realm gate. The Nighthaunts arrived, which is not a real surprise for us, as they were in the Warcom article a while back with Reikenor. Speaking of which, guess who's here now? It's Reikenor the Grim Hailer. Sending a group back to warn the rest of the crusade, the Duardin prepared for a fight. Reikenor had been drawn to them by the scent of death magic, as Zenestra refused to die and her soul was being denied to almighty Nagash. The Nighthaunts left no survivors in the mines. With the Pyregeists at his side, so the Pyregeists is the new Warcry warband, the Burning Ghosts, Reikenor's goal was to taint the Realmstone with Shaiishian death magic to kill everything in the vicinity. But first, he had to kill Zenestra. And we're back in Hammerhal, with our lovable duo Callus and Toll, and with their entourage of Ravenia and Varentia, and of course the Undercrofters. This is so good. Only making slow progress, the group became more and more paranoid. The paranoia was justified, as they found the half-eaten bodies of the Duardin and human workers, the crew who were supposed to maintain the pumps in the sewers. The pumps, in fact, were sabotaged and time was running out, as again the King's Blood curse would contaminate the water supplies of the Twin-Tailed city. Entering a vast chamber with an artificial lake, it was obvious that the water was already tainted. The chamber was decorated in the regular Flesh Eater Court's manners. Oh yeah, and what I don't have here with the why they knew that the water was already tainted, it was blood red. That's it. That was the sign. Inevitably, the Ghoul King showed himself and ordered his unwashed masses to attack the Sigmarites. But being outnumbered, our band climbed ropes up to the structure that housed the controls to the pumping station, leaving the Undercrofters to die, as it was now their job to sacrifice the few Wildercorps hunters to save the city. And we're back to Amberguard and our imminent Nighthaunt attack on our Crusaders. Concerned with the news of the Nighthaunt attack, Zenestra, for the first time since the beginning of the crusade, felt wary. Ordering the Crusaders to defend the city, the Sigmarites faltered in the face of the undead. As you might know, Nighthaunts are only defeated by those who believe that they can be harmed. So the Flagellants were the hammer that smashed into the Geists, as Zenestra called lightning from the heavens to smite the followers of Nagash. Reikenor cut his way towards the Pontifex and fixed her in a deadly gaze. He declared that her soul belongs to Nagash, and so he extinguished the flame of one of his tallow candles that are made by the purest of death magic, capable of ending almost every life. I say almost because Zenestra survives, smites the Grim Hailer with lightning from the skies and sends him flying. Because Zenestra's soul is different. but he was sure that victory was his, as the fires of necromantic magic were rising in the mountains, and that the Zenestra creature, his words, would not survive. And we're back to Hammerhall. You see why I mentioned it at the beginning. The fight in the vast chamber in the sewers was intense as the ghouls climbed after our bands to hold their progress, fending off the Ghoul King. The abhorrent took some drastic measures to get rid of the interlopers. Those measures came in the form of a royal zombie dragon. It attacked and destroyed the control center, leaving our troop dangling in the air, holding for dear life. But as you might have seen my Callus and Toll review of the book, Hanover Toll is old, and he hurts. His grip isn't as strong anymore, so he slipped towards the bloody waters. But this is the moment our winged lady flies by and catches him before he meets his demise, as the chamber is really, really big. And yes, I went back to the Warhammer Plus episode of our heroes to see how big the sewers are. And yes, they are big. And this is also confirmed yet again in the Callus and Toll novel. So Doomfire Warlocks attacked the zombie dragon, and they were not alone. Lord Castellan Valius was with them, who dispatched the Ghoul King. And to our collective surprise, a couple of the Undercrofters are still alive and hunting down the rest of the Flesh Eaters, so we never see them again. Bringing in 4 cauldrons of blood, the Crone followers purged the tainted waters, as Crethusa told Hanover the most obvious thing. It is obvious. Well, first of all, one is obvious for us because she's not a follower of Morathi or Cain, and the other one is that he should be ready because ruin will be unleashed. Yeah, no. We're in the mortal realms. Ruin is being unleashed before we hit time to have second breakfast. So for the last time, we're back in Amberguard and our Dawners. Relieved with the retreat of the undead, only a few mortals saw the state in which Zenestra and her palanquin bearers were in. Only husks with a small glimpse of life remained. The skies turned green and the nighthawns circling the mountain howled in anticipation of their future victory. The Wheelnuts and the more pragmatic Sigmarites fought about what to do, but it was then that Zenestra rose invigorated as new acolytes lifted her palanquin, because she sucks the life force out of the people who bear her palanquin. She and her most devout followers would venture to the heart of the mountain, and the rest would hold the attention of the undead. As they fought towards the realm gate, the blood of the faithful cleansed the mountain and pushed the death magic back. Remember this blood cleansing, faithful blood cleansing stuff. As they fought, oh yeah, I already read that, sorry. Ever chanting, Zenestra battled Rykenor's magic with her own and with words not spoken since the age of myth. Rykenor felt an old and powerful presence, and it was the first time in a long time that he felt fear and doubt. Retreating through the realm gate as the geists around him burned in silver fire, the grim Hailer swore vengeance upon the Pontifex. Only after the caves fell silent, Zenestra lost consciousness as she spent the last of her energies. To conclude the Axian side of our story, Zenestra became the symbol of defiance for the city of Amberguard. If she dies, the city dies. Missives were sent out to Hammerhall with the requests for more troops. Okay, in Hammerhall Aksha, Crethusa was a vital component in defeating the King's Blood Curse, as the Croneseer displayed her full cooperation for the city, to the city's enclave, even as the Cornets attacked the city walls. Burning the curse with the boiling hot blood of their cauldrons, the survivors of the curse were scarred for the rest of their lives, and the rest, well, died. Orders were already being issued to find every last drop of the tainted wine, but one shipment left towards the Gyronite expedition. Crethusa again offered her help as she was faster alone and able to warn Marshal Thorian of the cursed beverage. With her magic, she warned her followers on the Gyran side of the city so that they would march to aid the Dawners in the city of Verdigris. Now we look to the other side of the realm gate in Hammerhal and visit the beautiful realm of Gyran. Our Dawners are still on the run from the Flesh Eater courts, and to stop for a prolonged time meant to invite a certain fight that would cost them dearly. But worse were the survivors of the feast in Usharan's court, as some of them seemed to change as they muttered to themselves and only ate meat. As one attacked his officer, anyone who displayed symptoms were isolated, and the only water that was allowed to be consumed was the one from their own aqualith. But as Marshal Thorian turned more and more into a spirit of the forest, if you remember her slow transformation in the last books, she inspired her troops with Gyranite proverbs and songs and whatever she does. Just like in Dune, her eyes started to change color, not to blue, but to green, of course. And, of course, she now needs sunlight. Because she is becoming a tree. Studying the map, the officers agreed to make a halt at a minor strongpoint known as Nathwaite's Crossing, located at the fork of two rivers. Despite it being so isolated, the stronghold was thriving as missives reached Hammerhal Gyra weeks before the crusade was underway. As they reached the crossing, they were met by the sub-marshal that led his contingent through the labyrinth in the last book without incidents. And introducing Thorian to Nathwaite, the marshal who named the strongpoint, because egotistic, she saw that he was the very image of a Free Guild hero. Impressed at the fortifications, they were also joyful as a shipment of wine arrived just days before our Dawners from Hammerhal. Which leaves the question if it's not possible to pull the metalliths over the sea, as it's obviously faster to get there. Let's just say pirates. The citizens were strange as they shunned the Dawners and kept to themselves, to their misgivings. Thorian ordered, to their misgivings, so the Dawners' misgivings, Thorian ordered them to depart as soon as possible because their goal was close. Usharan is also active, but for that I will redirect you to my earlier video of what happens between book 4 and 5, as it would take too much time now. So, leaving Nathwaite's Crossing with reinforced militia. The Dawners were again a formidable force. With the help of the locals, the lay mages found the perfect spot for their new strongpoint. It was near a realm gate known as Gilnarad's Gate, which is basically an enormous white flower which sends you to distant lands. Because that's what every realm gate does. But before they could erect their settlement, they needed to purge the lands of the Slaaneshi that had their own claim on those lands. Those Hedonites were tasked by the infamous Glutos Orskolion, who heard the latest rage in Hammerhal, the King's Blood wine. And he sent his gastro-sensates to sniff out the wine. He knows full well what the wine is and what it does, but in a full hedonite manner, he wants to drink it, which I do love. As the Crusaders now had the wine, you can imagine the excitement of the Hedonites, and the battle started almost immediately. But being outnumbered, the Hedonites only rushed in to steal the shipment and then ran away as they achieved their goal. But the rearguard, of course, of the crusade was not without problems. More outbreaks of the delusion were recorded, and it was clear that something was tainted in the waters of the river. Nathwaite said that as long as they can't purify the river, they have to rebuild a dam. The old Vorel Dam, with somewhere up rivers, of course, was the name of which they had to be rebuilt. What was that sentence? You know what I mean. Unbeknownst to the sub-marshal, Nathwaite is of course a follower of Usharan and is working with the Flesh Eaters, because there were signs in the city of Nathwaite's Crossing. The first task, however, for Marshal Thorian was to cleanse the lands of the corruption and build fortifications. Remember how in Embergard the Flagellants cleansed the corruption. It was with blood. With fanatic blood. The first stones for the city of Verdigris were set. On the other side, with our sub-marshal, whose name by the way is Vandis, it looked a little bit different. Confused on how the locals in Nathwaite's Crossing were able to work with just a meager amount of food, he just accepted it. Also confused that after days, the most unnerving thing about the locals was their gaze, their pallid flesh, their peculiar smell with a hint of uncooked meat. Yeah, it wasn't suspicious at all. How did the guy become a sub-marshal? But with news from Marshal Thorian that the first stones for Verdigris are being set right now, Vandis wanted to rest in his chambers, but there was an elf in his quarters. It was a seneschal of the Lumineth Realm Lords of the Idrilan Temple, so the River Elves, the other half of the new Warcry box with the Night Haunts. And he was warned of the true nature of Voril's Dam. The dam was supposed to divert the tainted waters to the newly found city of Marshal Thorian, so the city of Verdigris. With the warning, but still skeptical, Vandis took his most trusted soldiers and went to see the dam with his own eyes. The seneschal got what she wanted, a distraction, so that she and her Lumineth could cleanse the river's spirit from the corruption. So this is how it works. Usharan tainted not the water in itself, he tainted the spirit to be part of the King's Blood curse. In Verdigris, in the meantime, the Dawners were under attack by the Cruel Boys, but they knew how to deal with those pesky greenskins. Vandis was on his way to Voril's Dam, and slowly but surely he realized that his most trusted soldiers were probably already struck by the curse. The dam was already completed, and Nathwaite welcomed them, eager to show Vandis their accomplishments. To make this short, just imagine the wall in the movie 300, dead bodies, lumber, brick, forming the dam, and betrayal and flesh eaters are attacking the few Dawners. Vandis is being thrown from the dam, but is being snatched up by what I call her now Deus Ex Crethusa, because it's the second time she catches someone falling. After hours of flight, she brought Vandis to the city of Verdigris in front of Marshal Thorian's tent. Inside, Crethusa explained that she was sent from Hammerhal Aksha to prevent the outbreak of the King's Blood curse. Agreeing, Marshal Thorian rallied her troops to bring the cursed structure on the river down, taking only the fastest of her troops as speed was of the essence. Exhausted, they arrived only to witness the full horror of the situation, and somehow with iron-welded great cannons. Well, firing those great cannons, the corpse dam was stronger than it seems. Reinforced by Crethusa's witch elves, Doomfire warlocks, and cauldrons of blood, they were able to hold the advance of the flesh eaters. In the air, Crethusa was battling and killing the Gore Warden, while the dam was slowly buckling under the water pressure on one side and the tireless fire on the other side. Falling to her knees, the dam broke. Sorry. Falling to her knees, Marshal Thorian gave a prayer of thanks to Sigmar and the Everqueen. But in truth, it was Nathwaite who dealt the final blow to the corpse dam. Because after the Gore Warden was killed, the delusion lifted from his eyes and he saw the truth of the last days. With the last act of redemption to Sigmar, he made the sacrifice play and blasted a cart full of black powder beside him into smithereens, and with that, of course, the dam. So the same thing we had in the city of Truthbreak on the Akshian side in Book 2, as Truck the Troggoth King went there. With the destruction of the dam, Nathwaite's Crossing was flooded by a sudden amount of water that swept over the riverbeds. With that, Verdigris was isolated. With that, we only again have a couple of shorter stories to quickly skim over. Hammer Halgyra got news that ruinous powers were at work in the west. We know that it is Abraxia, the right hand of Archaon right now, because we already saw her at Adepticon, even though the hints were about an individual that could also be Valkia, the champion of Khorne, because the hints are torrents of scalding blood, leading flying ruin knights and descending from the skies. But yeah, Hammer Halgyra wanted to warn Marshal Thorian, but it is hinted that Verdigris will have other problems in the future. Near the ruined Fort Gardas, Dryka Hammerdreth is still fighting a guerrilla war against King Brodd's Mega Gargants. And do you remember our Lumineth friends from the Idrilan Temple and their guest appearance? Yeah, because they're working on cleansing the river spirits that are being corrupted by chaos and of course Ushoran to save the realms. So it is their work that sees those rivers to erupt in flash floods and cleanse everything in their path, even if it means to destroy cities of Sigmar that are beside the rivers. In Blight City, however, the Council of 13 are discussing the progress of their plans, but with the failing of the Plague Pontifex, the Vermin King Screech killed the Plague Pontifex and warned the rest that failure is not an option. The realms have to be prepared for the Great Horned Rat, which is also a big deal that one of the Council of 13 now is dead, because that never happened. Well, not officially. In Hammerhal Aksha, Hannibal Toll writes a letter to Lord Valius telling him how Krethusa is helpful, but they should stay cautious. Also of increased Skaven activity in the cities of Sigmar, in Lethis and Vindicarum. Then we have the Shadow Queen. On one hand is furious that there are witch elves that worship another goddess. Morathi Kane, however, also interesting that they are talking to each other as they are separate beings. Argues that Krethusa is only a thorn in their sides and killing her would make the Crone seer a martyr. Also interesting that she sees her own flaws, in a lack of words right now, in each other, because one soul and two bodies. But she will decide what to do with Krethusa. Last but not least, we're at the end in Akshi. Emberguard was safe for now, fortifications are built, the Realm Gate is being secured, and heralds dispatched that Emberguard is being built into a stronghold for the God King. Also, many people are paranoid of skittering in the dark, earthquakes, and the other usual Skaven stuff. In Ghyran, the city of Verdigris is going strong, but Krethusa and her followers are leaving with a warning. The warning again, very unnecessary, as we are still in the Warhammer world of the mortal realms. A great darkness is coming and will smash against the newly built walls. Thanks for the warning, Deus Ex Krethusa. But yeah, that was it. I know it's again a long video. I hope you had fun with Dawnbringer Book 5, Shadow of the Crone. I'm going to end this right now. Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. I am keen to know what you have to say. And while you're down there, please remember to do all the YouTube stuff, because hitting buttons is not only fun. Why? Because that way we can build a bigger community and talk more Warhammer almost every day. And by that, I of course mean like and subscribe, and if you want, you can support me on Ko-fi. But until then, have a great day, my friend. Stay fantastic, stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, bye, bye.